Hey, what is up, YouTube? This is my Master coming at you guys from the Team Time Riders YouTube channel again today with my deck showcase one more time. And I wanted to take a moment to discuss kind of how the profiles work and how I build my character decks, just so that we sort of get some of the information out of the way to start with, and I don't have to spend time at the beginning of all my profiles sort of talking about what we do. So basically, I used to play competitive for a while, and I ended up getting out of it because, there was not enough interaction in the game, and I really wanted to, try and collect some of the older cards. And what better way to collect a lot of the older cards than to build decks that I could play? And to that effect, I was looking for different character decks and stuff online, and I couldn't find any character decks that really spoke to me. They fell into either one of two categories. It was either people who were building a character deck that was totally, 100% to the anime, or it was people who were building character decks with the brand new support cards, but that those decks were not, didn't have anything to do with some of the old cards. Take an elemental hero deck, for instance, that just runs all of the masked heroes or just runs all of the omni heroes. On the one hand, those decks worked really well, but they didn't have any of the old stuff. And on the other hand, if you build a deck that is 100% character oriented, they just run cards from the GX era. So, for instance, a deck like Zane Truesdale's, which requires a lot of cards like Cyber Dragons, had things like, 3 Final Fusion and a whole, like the XYZ Dragon Cannon stuff that was horribly inconsistent. You couldn't really make any plays off of it. And so what I decided to do when building these decks is to try and take the best of both worlds. I wanted to use the original cards that these characters ran, but because they're so difficult and tough to summon, why not supplement the decks with newer cards that sort of play to the already established strengths of old cards? So take, for example, Destiny Hero Dreadmaster. Really, really cool card, and it was a misnomer. A lot of people actually believe that you have to summon Dreadmaster off of Clock Tower Prison in order for its effect to be triggered, which is not actually true. Dreadmaster's effect is triggered anytime it is special summoned, which means that Monster Reborn or Call the Haunted or anything like that, you could use to special summon Dreadmaster. Now, I built a Destiny Hero deck a while back that was absolutely dreadful, and the problem with that deck was just that, Aster Phoenix just ran a lot of trap cards, and he had, his sort of game plan was sitting on Captain Tenacious and things like that, and then waiting for your Clock Tower Prison to go off. It was extremely, extremely slow kind of effect. But enter in Destiny Hero Dominance, and you could then use your Dreadmaster with Dominance to get it back to the field and instantly help protect your entire board. So new cards like that sort of facilitate the plays of your older cards is kind of what I'm looking to do here. At the end of the day, what we want to establish is like the spirit of each of these characters. What are the types of cards they ran, and what are the type of cards they won with? Jaden, he won with his fusions. So creating a deck that just summons masked heroes, or creating a deck that is totally, 100% for him, like back in, running only the cards that he ran in the ratios that he ran them, is not going to work because his deck back then was not good enough to summon all of his elemental hero fusion monsters. And then if you fast forward to now, the deck of nowadays, if you're just summoning mass heroes, you don't get to see Flame Wingman and Shining Flare and all those really, really cool cards that people came to know and love over the years. So what's the solution to a problem like that? Well, what you do is you build around the old stuff. Now, the reason why this is so fun is because a lot of these super, super old cards are actually really interesting. And Konami didn't really have an idea of archetype design back in the day. And GX was really an era where they were kind of learning their way around specific archetypes and specific cards. So what you had is, you have some stuff like Cyber Laser Dragon, which is not really that good, or Water Dragon, which they tried to play around with kind of like the fusion mechanic. And, using other cards that Konami has released, in the modern era, you can sort of play around with these cards a little bit more and try and create win conditions around them. As I mentioned in my previous video, and what I'm going to be pointing out in my Cyber Dragon deck profile when it goes live is that, there's a way to get Cyber Barrier Dragon up to crazy amounts of attack power and, have him be sort of like a giant wall against your opponent. Same thing here for the brand new cards that Konami released for the Ojamas, helping us to get out a massive monster such as Armed Dragon Catapult Cannon using the VWXYZ stuff and allowing you more consistently to summon it to the field. So in the end, what you're doing is I have really no new monsters in these decks because I want the experience of you piloting the deck or someone playing against the deck saying, hey, this is that character. This character is utilizing this character's cards to win. So, if I have to run things in the background that kind of help facilitate me getting to these cards much easier than the character themselves would, certain characters require like a crazy good draw or like a really, really good move in order to be able to successfully summon this. Like, for instance, Aster required 4 turns of the Clock Tower Prison and a way to destroy it to get to his Dreadmaster. But getting to the Dreadmaster a lot easier, or getting to some of these specific crazy monsters a lot easier, allows you to create the perception that you're playing or you're fighting said character. And it leads to some really, really awesome interactions with these decks. And if you play these decks against each other, one of the coolest things that comes out is you're fighting your best monsters against your opponent's best stuff because you can so consistently summon it and get it out that, you're not waiting a million turns just to summon one specific monster. A lot of people have pointed out the Venom deck is a perfect example of this, using Card of Demise to get a whole bunch of snakes to graveyard and to turbo out Venomenaga to make a giant big beater just like Viper did in the show. So you get Venomenaga out super easily, and it's like you're fighting against Professor Viper. And that's really kind of what all of these decks are centered around, is really you want the experience of fighting against said character, and you get that from these. So I'm super excited to show you guys these deck profiles, but I just wanted to get that small explanation out of the way just to let you know kind of my structure and the way that I build the character deck. So it's not going to be, it's not going to be a ton of new stuff, as you can see. The focus is really on summoning the old stuff and working towards the strength of the old stuff. But at the same time, these decks are not going to be 100% specific to the anime. I'm using a lot of new cards in these decks to kind of bring out the best of that old stuff and to really help develop the older strategies and show just how cool and amazing and fun it is to win to them. So guys, new deck profiles are coming very, very soon, and I really look forward to showing you guys what I have planned in the pipeline. Getting a lot of really great requests from you guys, so just keep them coming. Let me know what you guys want to see, and hope to talk to you guys soon. This has been the Mermail Master with the Team Time Riders Yu-Gi-Oh! Tube channel, and I'm signing out. Catch you guys next time. Peace.